What's up, everybody? I'm Taylor, and my intentions of creating this YouTube channel is to share my personal recovery journey in hopes that it can reach others and it can help others on their own journey. I realize that there are only two paths to take in this life: the path of suffering and addiction, or the path of suffering without addiction, and the path of healing, the path of recovery. And I started meditation about 2 years ago, and it was really hard to actually start meditation because I could not sit in silence with my own thoughts. Things would pop up from the past, or things that were currently going on, or the guilt and the shame would just hijacked my brain. And I realized that I'm gonna have to get familiar with the silence. That's the only way that this is gonna work, to get my brain familiar of sitting in silence. I realized when it came to staying sober that I was going to have to give my brain time to get familiar with not depending on a substance. And I realized when I came to recovery and I came off all my psychiatric medications because it was making my life unmanageable, that I was going to have to get used to my brain. My brain was going to have to get used to feeling emotions. And so what I've realized since I've been in recovery to make my recovery work is that my brain has to get familiar to it. And that has been a concept and a belief that has helped me on my journey and has allowed me to make it as far as I have, is changing my mindset, changing my perspective, changing my attitude, changing who I allow in my life or who I hang around. I had to change everything in my life in order to make my recovery work. And especially, I had to change the way I looked at myself and the way I spoke to myself, because I was my own worst inner critic. I allowed my inner critic to control me and my actions and my behaviors. And I had to start taking control over my inner critic. And the way I did that was by talking back to it, by not allowing what the inner critic said to harm me or make me feel like what it was saying was true. The more I fed my positive mind, the more the inner critic negative mind started to fade away. The more good I did, the more good I felt. But I had to be willing to push through those uncomfortable emotions in order for growth to happen. And I still have to do that today in order for growth to continue. Recovery is a choice. And I do have a choice. And I spent my whole life thinking and feeling I did not have a choice. But today, I know I do, and you do too.